What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Sorry for a little bit of a delay, but we are back rocking and rolling here at the Ryan Ripken Show. We are getting over the hump here. It is Wednesday. And as we try to get over this hump, well, guess what? We got a whole heck of a lot to talk about today. We're supposed to be over at Merritt Clubs, but with this extreme heat, not great for everyone involved. So once again, we'll try to make it happen there. Ironically, when we were by a pool this year at Merritt Clubs, Zach, when you and I went there earlier, it was like 60 degrees, and the pool was just about to open and then stop traffic in Baltimore, Maryland. It's 100 feeling like 110, and in Miami, it's like 86. I digress. But what's also heating up is the continued conversations that the All-Star game is approaching. We got to talk with, hopefully, he's going to be a future All-Star, and the fans can help him get to that point. We talked to Jackson Holliday earlier today. We're going to play some clips for you all to react and talk about heating up. We had some talk about trades and whatnot yesterday. Well, we're going to have Tim Kurkjian join us later on to talk about, well, could the Orioles buy, sell, who's a sleeper team, and some other stories around the game. And then, we have a couple things to break down on the show. Part of it being that the Orioles on some plays at the plate, the execution hasn't been there, especially in some tough losses. Birds had a tough one yesterday against Texas. And then a good example of what not to do when you go to a ballpark, especially for a fan that went over the line when he went to watch the Diamondbacks play, and it's led to, rightfully so, a discipline that we'll get into later on the show. And then, we're going to still have our fitness, I think, today, because why? We got a wild Kevin Ostreicher in the building. Kevin, how we doing?
Man, it is hot outside. I was getting in the elevator to come here, and it's just a heat box, man. Like, I felt like I was, like, in 5,000-degree weather. But you know what? We got the hat on. We're going to do some fitness. Maybe we'll even put more layers on to do the fitness challenge. If I lose, which I'm not going to, but, if I lose the basketball shootout, which I've never lost one. So, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll put that to the test. And loser of our last effort, he's behind the sticks again. Zach Bollinger. Bolly, how we doing?
I was going to talk about the heat, but everyone else was talking about the heat. I'm doing well. You know what? We had a good – it's an exciting day. You get future All-Star Jackson Holliday and Tim Kurkjian. I mean, this is going to be a fun one. We can maybe talk about some pro zone. But I'm excited. I think this is going to be a very fun show. So let's
And I took Ryan's advice and I wore pants in the heat because that's what you said to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
always believe what you see on the internet.
I think I actually said the opposite. I said do not wear pants.
Well, instructions unclear.
Yeah. Note.
Well,
No,
it happened. It's happening.
It is happening today. And you know what? I wore them on Monday, didn't wear them on Tuesday, but I still was wearing some sort of pant, but shorts. Don't go out pantless because that could lead to a whole different set of circumstances. And maybe, Kevin, we're supposed to go to Hollywood Casino on Saturday. I know you're going to have to wear something, in general. So shorts, pants,
something.
If you want to wear a mankini under there, by all means, but you got to keep something on before. I don't think you want to show up pantless when we talk to Ryan Zimmerman.
I don't think that'd be a good look.
It would not be a good look. It would draw some.
Yeah, it'd be content. It's not the type of content we're looking for.
We might go viral, but not.
Yeah.
Not for why.
Not for
the reason.
Ryan Ripken Show goes pantless.
Maybe that's a Rip After Dark thing.
That could be a Rip After Dark thing. And you know what? Why don't we rip on into this conversation and baseball and all of that in between? But hey, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on X, YouTube, and Facebook. And here's the deal. All right. All-Star voting for Phase 1 ends tomorrow, guys. Noon. So for all those O's fans or whatever your favorite team is, but in this case, it's about Baltimore. Why? Because we got to talk to Jackson Holliday, who is right in the running to be an All-Star. He's second in All-Star voting at the position of second base. Gleyber Torres is the current leader of that. And so tomorrow, we will see who the finalists would be. MLB Network is going to announce that at 6 p.m. So get the votes in for Jackson Holliday. But let's kick off the show in that way. We talked to Jackson just a little bit earlier before the show on what it was like and what it means to be in that all-star contention. So, Zach, let's play that clip for you guys. Kind of surreal that here you are and you're in contention to be going to the all-star game down in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's definitely surreal. It's exciting to even be mentioned in that conversation, but yeah, definitely surreal. And like you said, it's pretty exciting to be able to be mentioned and playing well, and just to be able to, I guess, say you're in top contention for an all-star spot is pretty special.
It's really special, especially when people were really hard on the kid last year at 20 years old, trying to get to the big leagues and figure it out. Plus, the Orioles were trying to figure out their season in 2024, right? And then he comes up and has some better adjustments, but then he had a full off season to really focus on how to get things going. And man, has he gotten things going despite the season that the Orioles have had so far, which we will get into more. And for those that have watched, you know what I'm talking about, but we have some more points from this Jackson interview. But how about that? At 21 years old, yeah. Jackson Holliday is on the verge of being an all-star, and rightfully so at the second base position. I don't know, Zach, I heard you say that he had to start. He's earned the right to be in this conversation, and it's been spectacular to watch him grow as an everyday player for the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, eat your ground beef, kids. Eat your ground beef, because Jackson Holliday, he looks like a completely different player this season. And that's not just physically, like, yes, he's bulked up some, but just mentally, the way he goes about the game, the way he shows up every single day, it feels like he's putting together good at bats, you know, the comfortability in the box, just kind of being a major leaguer, which is harder, you know, easier said than done, of like, oh, act like a major leaguer. Okay, show up to the, you know, field every day, get your work in, you know, be professional, that stuff. It takes time. And for him at 21 years old to be developing at the rate he is, and just, you know, he talked about it a little bit later. He's like, yeah, last year wasn't the best, like, you know, but now the confidence that he's, you know, getting just by simply, you know, it's kind of like the confirmation of like, yeah, I do deserve to be here. You know, I'm not this, you know, last year everyone's sitting there, oh, Jackson, he's getting overpowered. You know, he's uncompetitive at times at the plate. Man, Jackson Holliday is proving everyone right that took a chance on him, and he's proven why the Orioles took him number one, because at 21 years old, he is the catalyst for this offense at the leadoff spot. He's the one who gets it started. Tony Manzolino said the other day, he is the leadoff guy for at least the next 5 years. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or but. Jackson Holliday, it is his job until he calls it quits. But if he's an Oriole, he is going to be leading off. And that's where he deserves to be. He deserves to have that opportunity. He deserves to show off what he can do and all the ways he can impact the game offensively. I think it's been incredible. I like the way they handled it this year. Started off slow. He's still batting eighth, still batting ninth. Ease into it. And then once, hey, it's time. It's your time. And it wasn't, okay, we're going to dabble, put you in the leadoff spot, then we'll take you out. Then we'll put you in the leadoff spot, then we'll take you out. It was kind of Manzolino when he took over. It was, hey, you're our leadoff guy. Maybe here and there, once in a blue moon, if you need an off day, we need something, a lefties on the mound, and you get an off day, we'll put Westberg in there. But hey, if you're in there, you're going to be leading off. And that kind of confidence, I think, does kind of go over with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, overall here, it's baseball is so damn hard. And we want to sit here and we talked about putting prospects on pedestals here, right? And we're going, hey, Jackson Holliday is going to come up here and he is going to be better than any Oriole on this team. He's going to be the best player in Major League Baseball, right? That might be a stretch when people said it that way. Maybe I'm embellishing that. But let's be honest. How much expectations did the kid have, Kevin? He had a hell of a lot of expectations. And what has he done with this process? You know what? He took the lumps. He took criticism, the negativity, which, to me, unwarranted, but that's the nature of the business, right? You're a baseball player, any professional athlete. What solves the problem? Success. You go out there and have success. You shut people up until you're failing again. Then you got to prove where you are and what you're capable of doing. But for Kevin, Jackson Holliday got off to a somewhat slow start after the first few games in March, hit 226 for April, then awesome month of May, and at 21 years old, hitting 262, leading the top of the Orioles lineup. And you're just seeing a guy like I think we have the clip later. He knows he belongs, and he can say the confidence all he wants, but he's proving, I am a big league guy. Now let's see how I can grow.
Yeah, and I think that goes hand in hand, right? Confidence and knowing that you belong. And for Jackson, yeah, I mean, I remember all those expectations when he first came up, and he's supposed to be better than Gunnar, better than Adley. He's the future, like all that stuff that you were saying, Zach and Ryan, about the expectations. But to me, I think the other part of it is having a guy in that leadoff spot who not only can get things started, like you were saying, Zach, but I think the big thing that I look at is the fact that, if you get your bottom of the order guys on, you have a guy like Jackson who can bring them around, who can hit a 3-run homer if you get a couple of guys on in an inning. And the guys that you put in the bottom of your lineup are as important as the ones you put at the top. I mean, how many times have we had a conversation, guys, about the Orioles walking a guy at the bottom of an opponent's lineup, and then that guy, I mean, literally last night, coming back to hurt them. The Orioles, they've had that happen to them too, but it's also a matter of, can the guy at the top of the leadoff, can that leadoff guy get those guys around? And I feel confident in Jackson being there. It just feels natural for him. And the progression that we've seen with him seeing the ball better, feeling like he belongs, and really rounding out his game. Look, he's not perfect, but he's only 21 years old. There's still such a array of things that he can do with his career. And the fact that he is in the All-Star conversation at 21 years old, the fact that he has turned into an everyday guy for them at 21 years old is exactly what they not only wanted, but what they needed. And to have a guy like Jackson who can do all that for them and be a consistent part of that lineup has been a very big bright spot. And, it's been a disappointing season. That's been one of the bright spots of this year. So I'm excited to see what Jackson can do. I'm rooting for him. I'm putting my votes in, and, for Jackson, O'Hearn, all these guys, also Nick Moore to the All-Star game. Can we get that going?
Nick Moore, All-Star Pro Bowl. Apparently his dad Splash, by the way.
Yeah.
Dad Splash, which against the Orioles are 1-0 when Nick Moore is the guest splasher.
That's the key
for the Baltimore Orioles. So maybe you bring him back. The other part, it might just need to be bark at the park night every time for Jackson Holliday. We did talk about that very extensively because there is
way
something
too much of this.
these are the analytics we need right here.
That's the best part is Jackson is like totally. He's like, yeah, I play really well on Bark at the Park. He's like, there's just something about
my guys in the building.
Show out for the dogs, man. Show out for the dogs.
Yeah, it's like when they say the celebrities are in to watch the game. You see with the NBA, and they're like, oh, the stars are out tonight, and then will the stars shining bright on the court for all these stars, whatever like cliche they say.
Coconut. Coconut.
Jackson, just like Coconut, is ready to shine out. He's trying to shine out for Coconut and all those other dogs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm putting on a show.
Yeah.
That's he's looking at my human dad go out there and ball out.
I don't know if this has ever been done before, but I feel like on the Jumbotron, when it's Bark at the Park night and they put the player's picture up, it should just be the dog, their dog, or their pet, their picture instead of them. Because I went to a game in Delaware the other day, and one of the mascots, it was I think it was like Star Wars night or something there. It was also, their mascot is a moose, but their secondary mascot is a celery. I know I talked about this on the show. Their secondary mascot is a celery, and every time that they score, it's the Wilmington Blue Rocks, Nationals High A.
Mm-hmm.
I know you might, know about the celery. Do you know about the celery, Ryan? At the Wilmington Blue Rocks? Where if they have a guy in a celery mascot, huge thing in a cage, and whenever they score, they let the celery out on the field, and he high fives people, and then he goes back in the cage.
I did not know that. That was not there when I was there.
Yeah.
That was also, Wilmington was the Royals High A team when I played there. So maybe new style going in. But that's also what makes the minor league so damn good, by the way.
I think is that when I told it to Zach on Kevin and Zach, right? He said that is the most minor league thing ever.
Oh, you want some more minor league? I'll get you some more minor league. Let's get to turn the lights down for a little Rip After Dark for all that. But Jackson Holliday, back to him. Fantastic, really run he's having. And look, you could say, well, Ryan, he can be better. Of course he can be better. My thing, what's fantastic is he's growing, he's developing, he's evolving, and we don't know how great he can be, but I'm telling you, we are going to find out. And I think that ceiling is pretty damn high. We'll have more of that interview later on in the show. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Yeah, we're live on Facebook, and we see those that are giving us those likes over on Facebook, and we see those that are giving the likes on YouTube as well. Help us reach a different audience here as we continue to grow and evolve. Yeah, we're talking shop, we're talking Baltimore and sports and whatnot, but we've evolved outside of that, and we like to have fun at the end of the day. But you know what's fun though, guys? Zach, Kevin, winning is fun. Winning is a lot of fun. Losing stinks. Winning's a great time. Baltimore's done a lot more losing than they've done winning this season, unfortunately. But there's been moments there where they could have won some more games. And so I think it's a good time to kind of talk about why the fundamentals of the game are so important. So maybe this is a little bit of a Rip's Corner as we're talking about a little breakdown. I don't know if I'm going to stick with that, but you see where I'm going. If you've watched the last few games, because I want to take it back to even New York. Orioles lost that heartbreaker to the Yankees, had the lead in the 8th inning, and then 8th inning comes around. Ben Rice works back from a 2-strike count for a base hit. Then Stan gets a hit. Then it's 1st and 3rd, and on a 3-0 swing, Jazz hits one to right center, and the Yankees are in business, right? And you're going, well, damn, here you go. And yeah, those moments were big, and they scored 2 runs and ended up being the game winner. But how about in those moments? There was a cutoff and relay situation. Ball was up the line, and Paul Goldschmidt was the pinch runner for Stanton, not known for his speed. First time he's ever pinch ran, and he beats the throw by a foot. Essentially, his foot got in there. Ball was just a hair up the line. And then there was a contact play. Infield in, Jazz is going on contact. Gunnar fields it, throws it to Gary. Can't complete the play. So that's kind of where we're going with this breakdown, because if you watch the Orioles game last night, they were getting no hit, backs were against the wall, and they come all the way back, 3 home runs. Are you kidding me? Shirts and pants. And then they fall in extra innings by 1. You go, damn, that one got away. But if we go back to the fundamentals, it's not what happened maybe so much when the Orioles hit the 3 home runs, and that's the downer. How about the other plays that led to a couple runs for Texas? So, Zach, can we pull up one of those plays right now?
Yeah. First up, we'll get the first. This is just the first round of the game, but it is Ramon Laureano throwing home. This is probably the least,
egregious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's up the line. So if we go back to this, and this is, I want to break this down a little bit. So in this case, because Kobe's going for the ball, Kobe Mayo is supposed to be the cutoff man. So the cutoff man's not going to be in position. Why? Because he went to go field the baseball. Now he's trying to haul ass to get back. He's not going to get back there in time. But let's see where this throw is. Let's see where Kobe is. Kobe's trying to get back, right? And the reason why this is all important, and also outfielders not going to make perfect throws all the time. But what's the value of having a cutoff man in the right position when it's right? It's to help be that line for the guy that's throwing it in, okay? And Ramon gives a pretty good throw. We've seen him make some great throws, but this is how just being a hair off, it's going to allow him to be safe. And again, maybe he's still safe at the end of the day, but an opportunity to get an out, you don't, right? So that's one play right now when you're looking at it. I
just want to say real fast, in no way, I get it. Why is this a error on Ramon Laureano? I get that they have to give it to somebody, but I don't see how that becomes an error for the runner advancing on Ramon. I get they have to give him an error, but that's, splitting hairs. But when they said that it was given to him, I was like, okay. But yeah, let's move on to that was, I think, the least egregious. That's a outfield throw.
But it's a good example.
Yeah.
It's a good example of when you're talking about you lose a game by 1 and you have plays that are impactful in the ball game that isn't the sexy play. Because guess what? The sexy play usually doesn't win the game. What was the sexy plays yesterday? Those 3 dingers that the Birds hit, right? Those are the sexy plays. But what had a chance where it could have gone differently? That play early on that led to a run. The throw's a little bit different. Throws on target, or Gary Sanchez catches it cleanly, maybe all of it, who knows? But then specifically the next one. Can we play that one real quickly then, Zach?
Yeah. So next one we got.
Let's pull it up. So here's another one. 2nd and 3rd situation. We'll play it through. Contact play yet again. And it's a chopper. And you know what? Shout out Marcus Simeon, by the way, for the jump. But let me explain this a little bit. So do we understand what a contact play is?
Yeah, you're going on contact no matter
You're going
what.
on contact. So for those that are listening and want me to break it down, you guys know, thumbs up for Zach and Kevin. Proud of you kids. For those that don't know, contact play usually is going to be put on with 1 out. Why? Because you're taking a risk that if the ball's put on the ground, that you can still score. You don't really do it as much with no outs because guy gets doubled off there, the momentum's lost, right? So 1 out, they're saying contact. The guy on third base, I'll stand up for a second. Hey, now, I forgot how much styrofoam it's bad
Ridiculous.
over here. I know.
over there.
But so the goal for a contact play is your lead off at third base. You're trying to time up when your lead foot is coming down is when the ball is about to be crossing the plate and the batter's going to put a swing on it. So when he makes contact, you're able to take your momentum and go, right? And again, if it's a line drive, you try to stop. In most cases, you're kind of screwed, okay? But you're giving yourself a chance on a ground ball. So in this case, Marcus Simeon contact play is on. And I got to give him credit. This is a chopper, really tough play. And Marcus has a pretty good jump. But I would also argue it's still a play that the Orioles can make. Why? When you're looking at it right there, he's probably halfway there, guys, safe to say, maybe 50 feet, 50, 55 maybe. If you want to be generous, but let's just say it's halfway there. There's a little bit of a hesitation, and in my mind, there's the ball being thrown. If this ball's on the money and Sanchez can catch it and drop it right down, it's probably out, right? If that throw is online, because the ball's there, Marcus is not at home yet. So if the throw is online and Sanchez can catch it and tag, and I know the catching part's been a tough part recently.
If it's a good throw, let's say this. If it is a good throw, the only reason he should be even considered remotely have a possibility of being safe, if it is a good throw, catch and tag, is if they somehow call, blocking the play, whatever. That, and this is where it's frustrating is, going back, like it be like, this is, if you get him there, it's a good throw. This isn't bang, bang, like, the one a little later. Like this is the most, to me, the one that you're like, because coming from shortstop, you don't have to turn. You don't have to, go throw your body towards the tag. It should just be a grab, boom, 1, 2. I think that's where it's disappointing. Let's be honest. It's also disappointing because it's from Gunnar and it's your shortstop. It's your, captain of the infield. And you're like, okay, you got, it's hit to him. You're like, awesome. Gunner's got a good arm. Let's get this at the plate. So I think it's more disappointing than you're like, it's baseball. It happens. You're going to not make perfect throws. But I think that's where you're kind of most frustrated. You're like, damn, like Gunner's arm and everything. If he just gets that online, this isn't out at the plate.
And this is where, when we talk about the fundamentals of the game, fundamental plays, game-winning plays, it's not the sexy plays that win the game. It's the plays that if you do what you are supposed to and you execute that, it's an out. You win. Guys, this is situational baseball right here. Rangers have a guy on third base. The Orioles have an opportunity to stop that run. That's advantage Texas. And at the point of it, fans are frustrated, but that's in what? The 4th inning right now, where Texas is going to take a 2-0 lead. Okay? So right there, you might think, okay, it's still early. And that's why when the Orioles came back and they're getting no hit, and they have the hits and the home runs, and you're going, damn, that's amazing. But it just goes to show you, so much goes into baseball games. And for the Orioles, when you look back at their struggles so far this season, it's been in moments like this. They've either had a game where, hey, they might just get the absolute crap beaten out of them, right? And you go, damn, okay, pitcher shoved, offense didn't show up, and that's that. But it's these in-between games where it's truly up for grabs. And if you look back, I mean, I still think back to this. You guys remember the Milwaukee Brewers series? Brewers beat the Orioles just handedly and won. The Orioles won the other one, the finale, I believe. But that middle game, tie game late, and the Brewers scratch one across late, and the Orioles then are trying to execute, get a bunt down at that time, and they don't. They have the leadoff guy on, then they don't score. They lose the game. That's one example. How about that Nationals game, which was Brandon Hyde's final game as a big league manager for the Orioles? Mm-hmm. Did the Orioles execute some plays well? They had a lot of opportunities, right, Kevin? A ton. You probably could give me 7, 8, 9. Are those situational execution? Yes. Did the Orioles execute? No. So, yes, this team needs to work on some things. They're a talented group. They could even be closer to the dance or into the hunt if they had done a few of these things right. And I think that's for what Kevin fans are frustrated with. If you actually unveil the curtain, I can live with if a team smacks you in the mouth. But I think what hurts the most is when you see that the team has the opportunity to win the game and you're just not getting it done because you're not making the play. It's not that the team's completely outplaying you. They're just making the extra play and you have your opportunity to, and you're not doing that.
You know, teams will lose games. No one goes 162-0. There are going to be rough stretches. There are going to be ups. There are going to be downs. And you're exactly right. Where, you know, if the team comes in and just dominates you, you know, you tip your hat, you say good game, and you move on to the next one. But if you just want to take this last week into context from an Orioles perspective, they have had 3 horrendous losses to the Rays, where they were up 8-0, and then they lose 12-8. The Yankees, where they get 1 hit, and that is an example of, you know, team comes in, punches you in the mouth.
Yeah.
But then you also have the game last night where it looks dire, it's looking done, and then the Orioles just have this offensive explosion to take the lead in the 7th. They literally go from no hits to 5 runs, and then you think, okay, the momentum is back. Like, this is great. And that was about as 2023 of this team as I've seen all year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even the year past, like, full calendar year dating back to last year. And then, like I talked about it a little bit earlier, you walk a guy, steals 2 bases, and he comes in a span of what, like 12 something, 13, 15 pitches or whatever it was from Soto. You know, you lose it like that. And so then you're put in a situation where, you know, you need your bullpen to come through and your offense too. And, you know, in the 10th inning, both teams get the opportunity with a runner on second. And the Rangers were the team that was able to put that run across, albeit on a very lengthy review. And the Orioles, they couldn't do it. So, you know, teams will lose games. It's not about the Orioles losing games. It's about how they're losing them. And I think it gets amplified because of the start that they have had. Each game is a lot more important being 11 games under 500 right now than it would be if you were 6 under or 5 under. And so it adds that extra bit of, man, that one would have hurt, but it hurts even more because, you know, we could be talking about a team right now that is 8 games under, 6 games under, but instead it just feels like they get some momentum. It's like a 1 step forward, 2 step back. You get some momentum and then, you know, you go backwards in a sense. They've looked a lot better over the last month plus.
I'll be honest. It's I don't even think I don't think it's a one. Unfortunately, it's felt like it's not 1 foot forward, 2 feet back. It's 1 foot forward, and then they go and they take that next step. And you're like, oh my gosh, like they're doing it. Like, when, you know, the big, you take the first 2 games against Texas, you know, you looked bad, but now you're taking that, and then they trip on the step and fall. Like that's the frustrating part. It's not like they take a step and then they're like, oh, 2 uncompetitive games, and you're like, shit. It's like, oh my God, we got momentum. Like, we're building momentum, and like I think that's where it's more frustrating. Is like the momentum has been there. Like, you know, you brought up 8-0 to the Rays. Then you should have won that game on Sunday against the Yankees. Then you should have won last night. Like, that's 3 games. That's the difference between what? So that's between 11 games under 500 and what would that be if they won all 3 of those? 8? I mean, that's what's disappointing is the opportunities were there. Like you've said, Ryan, when sometimes a team just comes and punches you in the mouth. Saturday, Orioles get one hit, Yankees win 9-0. They came in and whooped you. It happens. Baseball, baby. But it's when they go over and it's like, hey, you grabbed momentum. You tied it in this. You took the lead in the 7th after being no hit. 3 back-to-back home runs. That's like, damn. You were there, and then you fell.
You let them off the hook, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reality too is, fielding errors don't necessarily always show up in the box score when there's plays that could be made that don't go down as errors. And when we talk to anyone that's been around the game, and I try to preach this, I think you guys have heard this. So if I'm a broken record, because I've said it, I'll say it one more time for the one time. If you pitch, you catch, and you hit better than the other team, more than likely you win the ball game. And if you have less errors than the other team, your chances of winning the game increase, right? And that was one of my favorite nuggets I got from my Uncle Bill too. But that's something I knew. But he actually then got the data from MLB Network. Since he's worked there, you win like 64% of the games when you have less errors than the other team. Just think about that. The game is simple. Do those things well, do it enough, you win ball games. And for the Orioles, since we are talking about then making errors in defense, there's only 6 teams that have a worse fielding percentage than the Baltimore Orioles this season. Colorado Rockies, you know where they're sitting right now, but don't let them get hot. The Red Sox, the Guardians, the White Sox, the Athletics, and the Angels.
Yeah, and real fast to correct myself, if I knew my math was off.
No.
If the Orioles won those last 3 games, those 3 games we talked about, it's not 8 games back. It's not 11 where they're at. They'd be 5 games below 500. 5 games because they'd be, 37 and 42. Those 3 games are the difference between 5 games back and 11 games back. And that you want to talk about tough pills to swallow. It's not, you lost 3 games to 9-0. 3 very winnable games that you felt like you had the momentum at some point and should have won.
And this is the thing, injuries happen, right? And this is why I give Tampa Bay so much credit through everything, and one thing that I look back on, and I just had a conversation with someone about just the concept of Tampa and what they preach in the minor leagues and their philosophy. Tampa puts a lot of emphasis on winning at each level. And sometimes maybe that's a whole thought of, are they developing the hitters as well as they should, right? Because Tampa's not known as being an offensive juggernaut. You're not seeing these guys come up and go, damn, that guy is a future all-star. They make trades at the right time, but their players know how to win. 4th most wins in baseball over the last 15 years. That does matter. And so when you get injured, my point is being, regardless of the circumstance, having good players out there gives you a better chance to win. No doubt about it. But you go out there and execute with the group that you have, you can overcome and exceed expectations. And you don't believe me, go look to the 2023 Orioles. Did they exceed expectations? You're damn right they did. And not only did they do that, they did the situational thing so well, and they were actually one of the best defensive teams in baseball en route to being the best team in the American League and winning the AL East in the regular season. But if you're new to the channel, everyone, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. And we are not at Merit Clubs right now. Shout out Merit Clubs, by the way. Been a tremendous sponsor of us. It's just a little too hot for everybody, so we're working on a different time. And the equipment right here, right?
No chance this equipment.
I know, and we honestly then we couldn't afford with our next guest that's going to join us in a little bit. If he's ready. I think I can kind of see his screen, but not sure if he's ready or not. He might be, he may be. Is he ready? I kind of see. Tim, I can see a little, there's like a black screen over top. It's like you're blocked from us, and that's okay. We don't have to see the whole thing. But we do have a guest that we're excited to have us join the show. I guess I could bring him on. Tim, if you're good, just give me a thumbs up again if I can see the one hand. I think it's your right hand.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, let's bring on your friend, my friend, and one of the, not only one of the best writers in the sport that they've seen, but one of the people that just loves the game for what it is, all of it, and he's also just a great guy to interact with. Let's bring on Tim Kurkjian. Tim.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
You can't see me, right?
Well, we cannot see you.
I am the absolute worst of all time at this. This happens all the time. I can't figure out technology. There's something wrong. There's a little switch on my computer and I can't quite figure it out. And I need my son here to help me, and he's not here. So,
hey, you know what? You sound great. And shout out Jeff, obviously, when it comes to your guys' podcast. It's a great game or what. Does a great job. I know who the tech savvy one of the two is. And actually, Tim, it's not just you. You know, Calvin had some issues with his technology when we were shooting that. So I don't think you're alone with that. You know?
Yeah, well, Ron Darling, who went to Yale, is on our podcast next week. And we tried to tape him early, and he couldn't figure it out either. And he said out loud, he said, well, this is what happens when you're a 65-year-old man. Well, I'm a 68-year-old man, and I didn't go to Yale, and I have more trouble than he does. But we all have trouble with this, so I apologize.
No, don't apologize at all. And by the way, Tim, that was a lot of fun sitting down with you and Jeff. And I still love that one photo. And you guys put it up there. You and my dad going toe-to-toe. And I told people he's not. My dad's not wearing jeans, by the way. If anyone sees that photo, it's like the starter. If you guys remember that clothing brand, it's like the starter, like jumpsuit type of pants. And then there's Tim going hard to the paint. And like I said on the podcast, Tim, I think in my mind you scored the winning bucket, and no one can take that away from you.
Well, as I said, the truth on the podcast, I beat him off the dribble. I got into the lane. I got to the rim. And then he swept in out of nowhere, as always, and swatted that weak stuff about 30 rows up in the stands. So that's your dad. There is no way he was going to let a dinky little sports writer beat him off the dribble and make a layup. So he didn't allow it to happen. I was there, believe me.
Tim was a hooper. Hey, don't let anyone tell you differently. Tim went out there, and I know that exact move. He used to do that to me all the time. We had our own battles, to say the least, over the years. And that is still one of my favorite photos out there. It's frozen in time in my mind here, Tim. And I look forward to hopefully doing more with you guys. And for those that are wondering, if you haven't seen all the stories, you got a whole lot more of them over there on A Great Game or What, the episode we dropped around Father's Day. So go check that out over there with Tim and Jeff. All right, Tim, we got to talk a little bit of baseball, the present day, current day. I can't remember, and maybe it's just because time's different right now. The American League just feels wide open. I know Detroit is humming, right? New York is still leading the American League East. The Astros are inevitable. But when you're looking at the other teams in this wild card hunt, in this whole league, it's, the Orioles are the team that is 7.5 back, and they're 11 games under 500, Tim. So just kind of your thoughts on maybe the American League as a whole in this wild card situation. And then for Baltimore's sake, why it's still not crazy, despite their play still being inconsistent, why they're still not going to be out of this.
Right. I said this from the beginning in the division. This is the entire league is a free for all. It's a fist fight, and it's going to go right to the end. I went in saying, I don't think there's a great team in the American League. I think the 6, 7, maybe even 6 or 7 best teams right now are in the National League. Now, the way the Tigers have played, first team to 50 wins, they deserve everything they get. They are really good. The rest of the American League is pretty average right now, which is why you can't count the Orioles out of this. Not completely. Now, Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But we saw the Nationals go 19-31 and win the World Series. We saw the Braves struggle through in 2021 and through August. In middle of August, we weren't even sure they were contenders, and they won the World Series. Last year, the Tigers weren't even close to contenders until they went to Williamsport and beat the Yankees in that Sunday night game in the bottom of the ninth inning. So strange things can happen, but those teams were better set up to do something than the Orioles are right now. So I don't see it coming, but to say, oh, they're hopelessly out of it, the American League will keep them in it because there are so few great teams in that league.
I think that's a good way to put it. It's because of the entire league that by default, the Orioles are going to be in this thing. I mean, heck, Tim, going through this right now, I did this exercise yesterday, but the Orioles and the Twins had the O's number during that really rough stretch, but could the Orioles pass the Twins? I think that they could. They're 3 games back. Kansas City's trying to find their footing. Texas is here in Baltimore, and if the Orioles had taken game 2, you're even a step closer. Then there's the Angels, who they swept. The Red Sox are a game under 500. And the Guardians, only 1 game over. And then Seattle holds the final wild card spot, just 4 games over 500. They got a long way to climb. But, so you're telling me there's a chance. As Lloyd Christmas, like I used to say, he believes there's a chance. Tim Kurkjian's saying there's a chance. But don't hold your breath, I should say. But maybe in this case, Tim, because so many teams are in it, and I guess it is the season, trade deadline season. Got about a month. Because of the parity in the American League, then, do you see teams being a little bit more hesitant on trying to sell? You know, I know Baltimore in this case, we're looking at it going, okay, they got expiring contracts. They're still well down the totem pole here. They got players that they could move and players that teams would want, you know, quite a bit. Do you think that this market's going to be more seller than buyer, or do you think that more teams are going to try to buy because of all the points that we just mentioned about this weaker American League?
Ryan, in this day and age, when you have a chance to win, as Earl Weaver used to always tell me, if you have a chance to win this year, you have to try to win, and then you figure out next year. And because of that, 2 extra wild cards in the last few years, if you have a chance to get in, you have to try everything you can. So I think more teams, you're going to look at them and say, they are buying. How could they buy at this point? Because they think, well, again, the American League might fall. You talked about the Twins. You know how bad the Twins are right now, the slump they're in? Oh, my gosh. I predicted that the Rangers would be the best offensive team in the American League this year, and they have been shut out 10 times, as many times as the Pirates. The point is, the American League has made no sense, and because of that, the Orioles have to look at this and say, one of 2 things are going to happen. We're either going to unload a bunch of guys, or we're going to try to stay in this thing. But with expiring contracts, Zach Eflin and Cedric Mullins, they have some really difficult decisions to make. And I've told you before, GMs have told me, this is when you earn all your money. Right now, are we in or are we out? Incredibly difficult franchise-changing decisions are made right now. And it'll be fascinating to see what the Orioles do, because they're one of those teams, they can't give up on next year. Even if they don't make it this year, they still have to look at next year and say, we still have a good team here. We could contend next year. They can't trade this year and ruin next year also.
Yeah, I mean, the Orioles are in or out. They're not rebuilding, they're retooling to be a top contending team in 2026 if they're not able to right the ship and make the postseason this year. But then let's stay on that for the trade deadline in general. Is there a team that maybe no one's talking about in baseball that you're sitting there going, wait a minute, this team's intriguing. They might be aggressive, and also they got some pieces that could surprise people. Is there any team, American or National League, that you're keeping your eye on?
Well, it's a stretch, but the Braves are starting to play now. Finally, they've won 8 out of 11. They're starting to score some runs. Ronald Acuna Jr. is hitting .396 with 9 homers and 100 at bats since he came back. Chris Sale is great again. Spencer Strider's starting to deal. So they're well under 500 in a very stout National League, completely different than the American League. But I know that clubhouse really well, and I know they're in there saying we're going to get hot, and I think it's already started. Now, do I think they're going to come back from an 0-7 start and make the playoffs? I'm going to say no. But to count the Braves out, even in a formidable National League, I think would be a mistake.
Yeah, especially the National League in general. I'm looking at it right now. The Braves sit 4 games under, 6 games off a wild card spot. If they were in the American League, they'd just be 4 out of that final spot. Teams ahead of them, there are 7 teams over 500 that are fighting for 3 wild card spots currently in front of them. But I'm with you, Tim. The Braves got a lot of talent. They got a Cy Young type pitcher, Chris Sale. They got Spencer Strider, and then they have an MVP in Ronald Acuna Jr., which, by the way, I've bbeen seeing this, Tim. It's kind of been a debate, and I know that Ronald, more than likely, I have a feeling he's going to be in the home run derby here, in Atlanta, all of that. But I saw some people get polarized with Acuna Jr. wanting to celebrate more. And we had Daniel Alvarez of El Extra Base on. He was telling about why Ronald Acuna Jr. does the Euro step around third. Is actually, it's a testament or an honor to his favorite player, Miguel Cabrera. Now, whether people that's their cup of tea, I digress. But do you have any thoughts on just kind of the expressions? Because I do, part of me feels that people like seeing players express themselves, but I do understand at the same time, people can go, wait a minute, sometimes there's too much expression. And back in the old days, Tim, as we know, if a pitcher felt like you expressed too much, they had a different way of handling that, which we don't see that anymore, rightfully so, because it can be dangerous. But anything just on the whole look of it all?
Yeah, well, Ryan, I'm 68 years old, so I have a slightly different look at this than a lot of people. And I learned a lot of baseball from your grandfather and from your father. And they always said, why don't you act like you've been there before and just go around the bases like Scott Rowland used to do with his head down and running as fast as he could, because that's the way that he was taught to do things. Now, having said that, I'm all for people having fun. This is still about entertainment, and we have to bring people into baseball, back into baseball. And if we can show some personality, for the most part, I'm okay with that. But I did a game on TV with Rick Sutcliffe a few years ago, and Sut is as old school as it gets. Sut once told me that when someone needed to be hit, okay, he was the guy to do it. And he would just go to the guy who had been hit and said, who do you want me to get? Just tell me who you want me to get, and I'll go get him. That's the way it works. So Wilson Contreras, pretty good player, hit a home run and had a bat, not in a playoff game, but had a bat flip, like threw it straight up in the air. And I said, Sut, sorry, in your day, what would that have meant? And he said, well, in my day, he would have never made it to first base after throwing the bat up in the air. So it depends how old you are, how you grew up, and the way you were taught. I was taught differently than what we do today. But I am not a fun hater. I am all for our young players showing some personality and enjoying what they're doing. So I have to look at it both ways, because you have to in this day and age.
You certainly do, and you're right. There were ways that it would be handled back in the day. No doubt about it. Even if you didn't show someone up, if you just hit a home run, they wanted to just make sure you weren't comfortable. I talked to Will Clark about that. Said Nolan Ryan next to bat after he took him deep in his first ever plate appearance. Nolan buzzed him up top a little bit just to remind him, hey, don't be too comfortable up here, rookie. This is I still go out here and I can pitch a pretty damn good game. And I believe Nolan struck him out that next at bat, right? So different day and age.
Ryan, Harold Reynolds told me that his first time facing Nolan Ryan, he's a rookie, and Harold weighed like 160 pounds at the time, and takes a huge home run swing off Nolan Ryan, swings and misses, and Ryan knocked him down with the next pitch. And Harold gets up, dusts himself off, and looks at Nolan Ryan and said, "I didn't even hit it. That wasn't the point. No 160-pound a pixie little middle infielder is going to take that kind of swing off the greatest power pitcher of all time." Again, that was a million years ago, and we just don't play the game quite the same way as we did back then.
No, it's a different day and age, but I love hearing those stories, Tim. You know, that's kind of what I grew up on, and it always brings back a nostalgic feel. And again, it's probably good for the health of the player, Zach, but, you know, I digress. A couple more things, Tim, we'll get you on out of here. Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, Tim, thanks for joining. So I know we just talked about how stacked the NL is. And, you know, for the Braves, for them to make a push, it could take some, take some luck, maybe a few things going their way. A team that, we're talking about entertaining, electrifying players, Elly De La Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds. Chase Burns comes up last night. You have Andrew Abbott. You have Hunter Green out there. Are the Cincinnati Reds a team that could potentially surprise a few people? This is a young, talented team that maybe could be active in the trade market to get that push to maybe send them over. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, they are a very interesting team, and they are the reason that Tito Francona came back to manage, is he looked at the talent on the big league roster and in the minor leagues, and he said, well, I want to be a part of this. Imagine Hunter Green and Burns last night. He struck out the first 5 batters he faced in the major leagues. No one's done that in his major league debut in the expansion era, 1961 on, and Aaron Judge was one of them. So they have talent everywhere. Elly De La Cruz, I get asked all the time, what is the comp for him? And fellas, I can't even find one. A 6'5" shortstop switch hitter who runs like that with that kind of power. I'm not sure that guy's ever existed. Now, last year he led the league in errors and strikeouts, so there's a lot of work to be done there, but he is an amazing physical specimen. And the most encouraging thing about him was I went to spring training. I went into Tito's office just to talk about it. And he told me, this is about a week into spring training, he said, Elly De La Cruz has come into my office 4 times this spring and just sat down and wanted to talk with me about baseball and like to learn from a guy who's 45 years older than him. I found that, Ryan, really encouraging, that a young guy would come in and just want to pick the brain of the new manager.
I always do believe that the ones that have had success or been around the game can be a wealth of knowledge for the ones that are up and coming or want to know more about it. And not that you have to take everything from that conversation, Tim, right? You don't have to take every bit of advice to change, but the goal of when you talk to people that have been through it is that it can enhance your game. And I love hearing the younger guys say, I want to try to figure out how I can be a better version of myself. Because Elly, I think there's no debating the talent that he has. He's a unicorn. We talk about Ohtani. Elly is like that too, playing the shortstop position. And if you can find different ways to learn the game from one of the greatest managers in our time, in Tito, I think that's a great sign for not only Elly De La Cruz, but it's ultimately going to make the Cincinnati Reds better. And to wrap this up here, Tim, we're talking about young players. Got to talk to Jackson Holliday today, and actually, Tim, I don't know if you can see this if you're not, but I got my dad's bobblehead. So we're talking about bobbleheads here. That's how this conversation got brought up. I don't know how I feel about this. It looks pretty good, actually, for my dad. I got to give him credit and the staff. It's actually a phenomenal thing. I just got to, you've heard me, Tim. I got to give my dad a hard time. I can't give him that much credit. And Jackson and I talked about that with his dad, and they went back and forth. Jackson said that he's a better golfer than his father, and that his dad's still super competitive. And kind of where I'm going with this is I said, well, how competitive is it going to be when Ethan could be the number 1 overall pick? And then Jackson, you might be an all-star at 21 years old. And Tim, if you could just talk for a little bit about the evolution maybe on not just for Jackson, but I actually want your overall take on prospects in general, because I think that there's a perception where they're very talented, but they are prospects. And Jackson, it's taken some time from last year to this year. The Orioles also have an uber talented prospect in Sam Basayo waiting in the minor leagues. But do you have a thought on how players, especially young ones, can find their way to try to maximize their potential in the big leagues?
Right. Well, first off, it's a great bobblehead of your dad.
Yeah.
I have one, by the way. Mine, of course, is actual size, which is not a good thing for me. But as far as young players go, Ryan, last year, Jackson Holliday came up, and I was talking to some of the players on the team last year, including James McCann, about Jackson Holliday. And he looked at me and he said, it's amazing how this kid has adjusted to this. He played in high school. There were like 20 people at the game. And James McCann looks at me and goes, I played at Arkansas. I played in the College World Series. I played in the SEC. We had like 20,000 people at a bunch of our games. This kid is coming from a completely different atmosphere. So when he gets to the big leagues and struggles as badly as he did, that was the first time in his life he had ever struggled playing baseball. And he did it on the major league level. So he learned from that. And now we see how much he's learned this year, because he's a significantly better player, in part because he's got a little experience on the major league level. And in that family, it really, really helps that your dad was that good. And as you know, Ryan, there was a home run hitting contest last year with Jackson, Ethan, and Matt Holliday. And Matt, the competitive dad, won the home run hitting contest with his two incredible children. So never put it past a former major leaguer who's still as big and strong, especially in his hands, as almost anyone you'll meet. And I found that really interesting, that dad still beat his two sons in a home run hitting contest.
He certainly still got the juice. And the one thing that Jackson said he was so gun-ho on of just being, I'm a better golfer than my dad. It wasn't even a question. It wasn't anything. He goes, I'm just better than him. I'm like, man, and me with my dad, Tim, I still have the respect. I think I can beat my dad. I got to be careful because I know the uber competitor, even at his age, it's like, don't poke the bear. And Matt Holliday, I could tell when he sat in the studio, like, I know you say you're not as maybe nimble or maybe athletic as you think that you were, 10 years ago. I don't want to bet against you, right? Because that's what made them great all those years, is the constant competition. And also, Tim, being part of the competition, you helped even a little bit, that competition against my dad. If you look back, you ever think about that, Tim? You were part of that competition circuit.
Well, I'll tell you what, I learned so much playing basketball with your father and with a bunch of other baseball players. Your father got every dirty rebound. He guarded the best guy on the court all the time. Everything he did was designed to make him a better baseball player, even when he was playing basketball. So that competitive nature, I've told you guys this a million times, that's the separator. You athletes, Ryan, your dad, and everyone else who played in the big leagues have a competitive nature that the average person just has no understanding of. That's the difference between the really great ones and the good ones.
And it can lead to a lot of conflict. As we found out too with some other ways. But if you guys want to see more of the episode 2 with my dad, Tim, and Jeff Kurkjian, and Tim, I think I said you as well. Tim, you were on there as well. Check out A Great Game or What, and you have Ron Darling you set upcoming. What else do you have going on where people can find all of that and what you have going on personally?
Right. Well, we had Dan Levitard is on today. That's running at the moment. That's our Wednesday interview. We'll have Ron Darling next week. And we have all sorts of fun people on. And we don't ask the normal questions. As you notice, we didn't ask your dad, hey, tell us about the streak, because he's been asked that 500 times. We asked him who would win in an arm wrestling contest, you or Ryan Ripken. And his response was priceless. You said, I think I can beat him. And the look on his face was, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time here. And literally, it was everything that we did. But I got to say, what you and Tim, or what you and your son Jeff are doing, you know this too. If you can get my dad to laugh, you know you accomplish it, and you get a whole lot of people to laugh. And I can't wait to hopefully do that again with you guys soon. But Tim, appreciate you, even though we can't see you.
Sorry for the technology problem. Well, I'll get it right the next time.
No,
Sorry.
You know what? You sound great, but enjoy the rest of your week. I look forward to chatting with you soon. Okay.
Okay, guys. See you. Thank you.
Tim Kurkjian, everybody. Just a great guy. Such a fun guy. Such the energy, the passion. And again, check out A Great Game or What with Jeff and Tim Kurkjian. They do sit down with a variety of guests, and they do not ask the normal questions. You know, some would say when it's Zach, Kevin, or even Brad of asking, you know, what you guys deem as the quote unquote important questions, then it makes the guy laugh or smirk because you know what? It's not what you were thinking, but I'm glad we got an answer. And we're also glad you're tuning in. We just had Tim Kurkjian on the show. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. And yeah, we are moving and grooving today, and I want to make sure that we know, I think because we got Kevin in the house with his Orioles straw hat, we are going to have the fitness challenge today. And Zach, I think we have to figure out what our fitness wheel is going to be today.
Yeah, so we got the wheel here. I guess we'll take 5 suggestions, and I'll make an easy one, and that's what we'll spin. So put some suggestions for things that someone here will do.
Kevin, any suggestions for yourself?
For myself,
Nothing.
Maybe sit-ups.
Sit-ups.
Maybe
What are you looking for? The marker?
Maybe like 30 sit-ups. I feel like 30 sit-ups. That's like in the middle, right?
30 sit-ups. How about 2 minutes of wall sits again?
I had to do the couch sits.
Or couch sits. I'm just saying.
That was a lot more brutal than I thought it was. I thought I was going to have that. Like, I was easy home run. Oh. And no, first 10 seconds, my legs started shaking.
Hey, but
I knew I was in for it.
But you did it. You did it. We're not. So Brooks also, since I did the bar class, made a little remix of me doing some thrusts.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Do we have that?
No, we don't need to see that. We don't need to see that. It was the form could have been better, but yeah, I mean the hips were moving. Say that the hips were moving. Okay. That's not going to be in this workout for today. We need to keep this rocking and rolling and not get demonetized for semantics. But we will see what happens moving forward here with the Ryan Ripken Show. So put in some opportunities, and we will spin the wheel later on, and we'll see who's also going to take down the Papa shot. And maybe Kevin, if he loses. If you lose, Kev.
Yeah, I'm putting on some layers.
You might put on every single layer in here. How about that, man? Well, good. You have to. It's really cold outside.
Dude, I wore pants. I know. It's chilly out.
Are those khakis, though? Khaki Kev is back?
They're the patented Under Armour khakis. See this flexibility? You don't get that anywhere. You don't get this flexibility anywhere else.
Okay. You know what?
I mean, I think we do get flexibility.
I'm just going to clap. I'm proud of you, Kevin.
I think we do get some better flexibility. Not that yours wasn't great. It was great.
Thank you.
It was really great.
I know I set a high bar.
Very high.
Yeah. It's true.
I was trying to think of another name with Khaki Kev and Straw Hat Kev. You got a lot of different personalities for you.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
We'd have to have probably a whole nother show on Kevin personalities. That's like Rip After Dark for me.
Yeah, it's like Rip After Dark, but you also on Kevin and Zach React, which the boys are live after every Orioles game, good, bad, and the ugly. You've been known to do some things on those reaction shows.
It's been a while since, I mean, this season just hasn't been a lot of like moments to do them.
But. Oh, so you don't want to make a moment. Zach, that's what I'm
No,
hearing.
no.
One's
I
not
mean,
willing
look,
to make
hey,
moments.
Crazy,
if
Kevin.
we get a moment, I mean, I also still
Don't wait for a moment. Let the moment, you make the
I
moment.
make the moment.
There we go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on now, fellas and ladies. But a lot of good things. And you know what? You guys are still crushing it, even though it's been a tough season over there. So if you're not subscribed to Kevin and Zach Reacts, hit that subscribe button over there. They'll be live after the finale tonight between the Rangers and the Orioles. Hopefully it's an Orioles win and everyone's feeling good. They're happy. Maybe. Probably weren't that happy last night, I
No.
assume.
I joined. I put off my ads to join early because I was supposed to do my ads, and then I got a text that said it was just a video of Zach just heated. And I was like, oh, I have to go in there.
Started the live stream off camera and tossed the ball against the wall and had it roll. I was like, sorry guys, I was throwing to Gary and he missed it.
Ooh, tough for the program.
Someone's got to entertain the people, coming up with stuff every night.
Coming up with stuff every night. You know what? It's all about it. But there are some things to be happy about here. And one of those reasons to be happy is the evolution, like we talked earlier about Jackson Holliday, right? And Mr. Jackson Holliday has been doing his thing really since after the first month. He's settled in. And we've heard him talk about, it's a different type of feel for him this year. One off season to really get right. And we actually talked to him today about obviously trying to be an all-star. Vote on that. Phase 1 ends tomorrow at noon. Then phase 2 opens up back up where you have starting on June 30th to then vote to make sure Jackson Holliday can get to Atlanta. But we did have to ask him about kind of the struggles that he did go through and what was the biggest thing he realized from last year to this year. So, Zach, let's play that clip and hear what Jackson's response has been for his first full year in the big leagues this year.
We've talked about over the past year how things have changed. And last year, around this time, you're back in the minors trying to figure some things out. You're going through the grind of all that. Cut to a year later, you're second in ALM or All-Star voting for the second baseman. Baseball stuff kind of aside, what has this past year been like for you from going from that everyday grind in the minors to kind of reaching the potential everyone saw in you and being on that path? What's it been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. I think, I always felt like the Lord had a plan for me. Obviously last year coming up, I didn't really plan on being really bad and struggling, and but I trusted his plan, and I'd like to think that all those moments led to where I'm at now, and I'm a better player for it, and just really trusting the process and learning the game and continuing to work hard and just try to make adjustments, and I always knew I could be a good player in the big leagues, and to be able to have some success this year has been pretty encouraging, and we have a great team of guys that have pushed me and been awesome to be able to lean on and learn from, and yeah, I'm really lucky to have a bunch of really good teammates.
Very modest guy. And the reality of everything with a player that struggles, that's young, you can kind of go two different ways, right? You can kind of sulk, kind of feel bad for yourself, or you can go back to work. You can try to figure out how you can get better. And Jackson, what I love for him is he's had the confidence that he knows he belongs. But until you kind of have that moment set in, right? Until you see the success consistently, even if it is for a month, 2 months, or even maybe the first half of a season where you can sit there and go, damn, yeah, I belong here. And this is the fun part for Jackson. He's only 21 years old, and he's already making these strides. Imagine when he's 22, 23. I mean, hell, he said to us earlier, Zach, if he was 25,
he's excited.
He'd be very excited. Don't want to give all that away.
Yeah.
But he was in good spirits, and I think that's the part where I love to see he's committed to the process. And I truly believe that the Orioles, we haven't even seen or come close to what Jackson Holliday can be for the Birds.
I mean, he was talking to him. It is so funny when you get to see that side of him of just how modest, and like him talk about Ethan. Like, you would have thought Jackson was horrible at baseball. the way he's like, yeah, I mean, growing up, stuff, talk about their childhood and stuff. He's like, yeah, we always knew each other. Like Rip, at one point, you really like, Jackson, you were also like very good. Like it is just to talk to him and get to know the human side of him. He's just such an incredible person. Like he is just as modest and like that's what is part of what makes him, I think, a great ball player. Is he's always like trying to learn, trying to take that next step. And I think you're seeing that this year. He does trust the process. He knows that last year wasn't the defining moment for him. It has helped him get to this point, and I love that for him.
He's moving and grooving. He's moving and grooving, and he's learning. And you know what? He's at the exclamation point, Kev, that he's going to be in there. He knows he's going to be in there. Man, I'm pretty sure Tony Manzolino even said point blank, yeah, he's our leadoff hitter moving forward. I think he said the next 5 years, Kev, or something like that.
Yeah, it is such a shift, I think, from the uncertainty of, what we saw earlier this year or last year where, we didn't know where guys were going to play. And I know, Ryan, you've talked to guys, former players who have said like roles are important. Knowing what you're going to do every day when you show up to the ballpark, it's important. And, the shift from, Brandon Hyde and some of those lineups that we saw when he was manager, particularly this season, of like moving guys up and down, giving guys off days against certain, like Jackson with the lefties. And, Manzolino comes in and says, no, Jackson, you're playing every day. Like you're our guy. And that confidence, it goes a long way. And I think that we've seen Jackson continue to grow, continue to flourish, and having that role has really helped him. So he's not looking over his shoulder saying, man, I just had a great game, but am I going to get sat today for a reason unbeknownst to him? It's, hey, I know I'm performing well, and I know that if I keep doing that and keep grinding and keep getting better, yeah, there'll be bad games here and there, but he doesn't have to worry. And it's the same thing with a guy like Kobe as well, these young players. It's like there's such I think, a stark difference in performance for most of these guys when you don't have to look over your shoulder every day and say, well, I just did something good or I did something bad. Does that mean that I have to get sat for 5 days in a row, or against lefties, I'm never playing? Like having that consistency, not just from a baseball perspective, but in life, it helps. And I think that that's part of the reason we've seen Jackson grow up so quickly here. And I'm really excited that, he's had the opportunities now that he wasn't really getting at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Who doesn't like to hear someone give them a plan of what you're doing? And look, in baseball, it's hard. In sports, it's hard to be completely transparent, like fully transparent, but communication is important. The best that you can do that. And if you do that properly, you can instill confidence into people, right? It's like, we can just talk about everyday life. Like even before this, we're sitting in here, we're talking about how do we make our product better, and we're communicating how we do that, right? If we talk about that out loud, it makes it easier to understand. And then you go, okay, cool. I'm hearing what's being talked about. We get feedback. Great. Everyone is on the same page, or we're moving to a spot where we want to go. And that helps. The same thing on the field. And when you get told that and you know what to expect from the get-go, that can help a player grow and grow and grow. When Tony Manzolino comes out and says, Jackson's my guy, he's playing every day. For the most part, he'll have some off days, but he's in there every day. He's going to be our leadoff hitter. You know what that does? That helps a young player continue to build confidence little by little. And so with that, Manzolino's given confidence there. We had to ask Jackson Holliday about Tony Manzolino taking over in a very difficult position, because the reason why he takes over is because the team was doing so poorly that they had to then make moves. They had to relieve Brandon Hyde, Tim Cousins, and it's a byproduct because the team didn't live up to standards. But I want you guys to listen to Jackson Holliday on what he had to say about his current manager here in Baltimore. Zach, let's play it. About what people should know about Manzo at the helm and what he's meant to the team despite all the issues.
Yeah, I think he's done an unbelievable job with the situation that he was put in. I don't think anyone wants to really be in that situation because it's a tough one. We're struggling and kind of get thrown in the fire as being the new manager. And he's a baseball guy. I think being able to have him as our third base coach and kind of the relationships that he built, being the infield coach and third base coach, everyone has a a real respect for him, and he likes to give people a hard time. And I think people enjoy his honesty in our clubhouse, and the way that he goes about being in that role. It's been awesome to be able to work with him and kind of see him do his thing. It's kind of a different role, I guess, than a normal manager. He's kind of hands-on and in the clubhouse and with the guys, and I think he's done a great job with the situation that he was handed over to. So, but like I said, he's a baseball guy, loves baseball, loves to compete, and I think he's done a great job.
So there's Jackson Holliday on Manzo saying he thinks he's doing a great job. You know, one of the little tidbits there that I took away, saying how hands-on Manzo is. And you probably think, well, why isn't a coach always hands-on? People have different styles of coaching. Some like to give players a little bit more space. Doesn't mean that they aren't present. They are. But it sounds like Manzo's making an emphasis to talk with each player and communicate exactly what they're thinking. And then maybe that resonates with some, maybe it doesn't. But personally, I really like that. I don't know how you guys feel. I love hearing that a manager's trying to be hands-on and trying to talk about it. Can there be too much of that? Sure. But for a team that's trying to stay together and work together and get back in it, I think Manzo, I know in the beginning, right, it's fair to say people were very critical of his pre-game, post-game pressers and what he was saying, and the team right after Hyde got fired, they were really all over him. I think he's done a good job of righting the ship. Now, are there still problems fundamentally like we talked about earlier in the show? Yes, you know, but that can't be fixed overnight. Not saying that could even be fixed during an entire season. But I think Manzo has done a really admirable job, and you can see that the players do have trust and faith with the guy that has been there with them through the whole process. So I think that is, thought that was really cool. I thought it was a really cool little soundbite from there. And we will have the full Jackson Holliday interview out later on. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. Do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. I'm seeing a lot of love on Facebook right now. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Facebook.
Shout out Facebook, baby. Having a good time. And he seems to have a positive attitude. It's all about having a good attitude, right, Kevin?
Oh, yeah. Even when you lose fitness challenges like you two do all the time, you got to have a positive attitude. Right? Positive.
So he comes back in the studio and does that.
He's going to miss everything. I just know it.
Zach did have remarkably one of the worst shots you'll ever see.
I made one in the hoop. Everyone's calling it a bad shot. 2 bad shots go in the hoop. It's like that.
And you still lost.
What is it? It's the. Have you ever taken that? Have you ever practiced that shot?
Yeah, it's the, like,
have you ever?
No, yes.
Yeah,
like,
you know.
yeah.
I literally, I shot it and I said audibly, I was like, Jesus, and then it found the bottom of the hoop.
How that ball went that way out of your hand at first, I will never know.
No,
but it got the job done, I guess.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it literally, it left my hand and just went up, and I was like, damn. I was trying to put some spin on it. Didn't think it was, but found the bottom of the hoop. That's all that matters.
Well, one of us is going to lose today. I'm confident that it's not going to be me, because you just got to have belief in yourself. It's not an arrogance like we're talking about. Just have, I believe that I will not finish in last place. Kevin and I are believing. You know where he's not believing?
I go out and let my game talk.
That's led. Then you know what? That speaks for itself.
That's what I do. I appreciate it.
What's, things you can count on: death, taxes, and Bali's going to be him. And whether that's good, bad, or ugly in the betting world, but if it's on this show, it's kind of ugly right now.
Oh, it's going to be ugly.
So why don't we take a quick trip up to our friends at Hollywood Casino Charlestown Races in West Virginia. And boom, we actually are taking a legit trip up to Hollywood Casino Charlestown Races in West Virginia on Saturday, fellas. Saturday from 4 to 7, we'll be up there. But guess who also is going to be up there? It's why we're heading up there. Mr. National, Ryan Zimmerman, is going to be in the building. You're going to have chances to win raffle items up there. And actually, apparently, if you just wear a jersey, Kevin, I wonder if one of the promos would count as a jersey. It's a good question I got to figure out, because you could wear an Orioles, a Rays, a Nationals, the Athletics, whatever the SAC, if that's what they are now, or Vegas, technically what they're going to be. You wear one, you get an automatic raffle ticket if you go up there. So that's number one. Number two, they have other options to win because they're going to have these ducks, these plastic ducks, not real ducks, Kevin. We can't have real ducks there, you know? That's a liability for a few things. But you can have a chance to get some ducks on the pond there, and the proceeds from the ducks on the pond go to the Zim Foundation, which helps support those who deal with MS. And you have a chance to win other cool prizes. And heck, if you're there, you'll have a chance to win prizes. And if you're watching the Ryan Ripken Show on Saturday, you also can have a chance to win when Ryan Zimmerman joins the show. So a lot of ways to win here. And also, if you want to have fun, we do have celebratory tequila shots. So, Kevin.
If you want perfect form, you better tune in because I'll teach you how to take a tequila shot. All right.
I don't. You know what? Sure.
That's confidence. Yeah, right?
You know what? It's all about good. Hey, you know what? That's what we're learning here. Gotta have confidence. Well, speaking of confidence, I guess Zach is still confident, even though his bets have been absolutely awful.
Never been more confident in my life about tonight. We're done with weather. Okay, I'm so tired. 3 straight bets have started in a delay, and I feel like that was bad juju going into Tariq Skubal. It took him a few innings to get going. Listen, we're going with the could have been MVP if he didn't miss some time. Hottest hitter in baseball. We're going Ronald Acuna, 2+ bases. Why not? We're facing off against Clay Holmes tonight. Ronald Acuna, take us home. I'm feeling confident in this one. You know, I was between him and Trey Turner. So congrats to Trey Turner for hitting 2+ bases after I didn't take him. So that's awesome. But you know what? Feeling good. Ronald Acuna, there's just something about the swagger. We're pissing people off tonight with Sellies. That's what we're doing. We're pissing people off tonight with Sellies. Ronald Acuna, 2+ bases. Let's hope. We went from let's lock it into let's hope to where we are at the Pets. Let's hope.
Let's hope. And you know what? If you want to live dangerously, just like you know what Austin Powers' middle name is, Zach?
Nope. But Kevin is here. Ask him.
Kevin. If we're talking about
dangerous,
close, what's a shorter word?
Danger.
Austin Danger Powers. That's his middle name. It's an inside joke there, Zach. Kevin, you both really haven't seen any of that?
Nope.
I've seen
Danger Powers. Austin Powers. Danger is my middle name. But if you want to live dangerously and you want to tail Zach, well, here you go. You can go on to ESPN Bet. They got a new player bonus. You bet $10. You get 100 in bonus bets. You have an opportunity for your first 30 days to get ESPN Plus on them. And also, you must be 21 years or older. And if you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or our friend Rocco DeSangro. And let's hope Zach Bollinger gets right back on track. But we will see all of you up at Hollywood Casino Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Beautiful. On Saturday, as we are going to have a day and have a stinking night up there with our friends up at Hollywood Casino. And you know what, Zach? When I move, you move.
Just like that.
And who sings it, Kevin?
Luda.
There we go.
Look at us.
We're
Look
learning.
at us.
Lob,
Who would have thought?
Lob, the jam.
Well, who would have thought, Kevin? Look at us.
Setting up. Let's go.
Yeah. So say the lob, the jam. Speaking, also thinking about shooting. Papa Shot, by the way, the record right now is 116, Kevin. Did you hear that? 116.
I know. You have it. Brad's been going strong trying to get that.
I just want to, put out there, I've never seen this 116. Like, what did we have cameras? Was there a witness, or could he have just been? He could have just been in there hitting the.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I might do that. How did Zach get 185?
350.
So
the new record's due on.
You know what? Maybe for channel members right after this, I'll show you guys how I did it. Okay.
All right. Okay.
I'll knock it home. Also, by the way, this is the rest of the quote. One book written by Austin Powers titled, well, we could see the whole thing. It's about Swedish pumps, Kevin.
I feel like there are too many quotes.
These things, this sort of thing isn't my bag, baby. Actually, one book written by Austin Powers, this sort of thing is my bag, baby. Maybe that will be a good birthday gift, a Swedish pump for Kevin, since you did that great read for the pills, the blue, not Blue Chew, was it? But it was.
No, did you listen? Did you know what it was?
But what, I forget the brand of it.
Rougiette.
What?
Rougiette.
Oh.
New sponsor that we got on Locked On. So
Woo! Shout out. Hey, but that's not the infamous one that you messed up.
No, I didn't mess it up. It was just that my first ever ad on Locked On was Blue Chew. And so my whole family was listening, and my first ever ad line that I ever did was, "Are you having trouble in the bedroom?" And,
Yeah.
and my grandparents are listening, my family's listening, and they're all just like, "What?" Because no one knew before.
See, and you know what? That's why you would be great to advertise Swedish pumps.
I don't know about all that.
It goes hand in hand, having trouble in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Well, here's this. And have you tried Kevin's Swedish pumps?
See, I don't have that though. There's no Kevin's anything. There's none of that.
Kevin Danger Powers.
I don't know where this slander comes from. First,
That's not what are you talking about? It's not slander. Whoa. Slander, it's a relic. Fine, it'll be my Swedish pump.
Okay,
Austin
right,
Powers.
there you go.
This sort of thing is my bag.
Right.
I'm just saying it goes great with what you did.
That is a fact. But we'll see. I got a couple more Rougiette ads for the next couple of days. So if you want to tune in to Locked On Ravens and hear about Rougiette for a minute, there's the plug for the show.
There it is. So go over there with that plug. And if you want to hear more about Swedish pumps, go to Locked On Ravens with Kevin Ostreicher. Make sure you're subscribed over there. Kevin does it literally every single day. Yep. He's over there grinding.
1,539 tonight, having Bruce Cunningham. Bruce is my guy, so having Bruce on the show.
Can't wait till you break the streak. All records are meant to be broken, Kevin.
We'll see. I think it would be really funny if I just did the streak and then ended it there.
Right at 2,632 or 33.
33.
I feel like I have to beat it. I feel like I have to
if you just do it to the same.
You should. That'd be phenomenal. Oh, we're getting closer. Do we have some things on that list, though, Zach, for what is on the docket for
so I took some of the suggestions, and then there weren't as many, so I filled in. So we have 40 split squats, 20 each leg, 2-minute plank, 10 squats. That's just that's the easy one. So if you guys, once again, we'll explain. If you guys don't like what we landed on, we'll put up a count and then see if we can get 10, 15 likes in a 2-minute period, and then we can respin. So 10 squats. We have 1 minute leg raises. I saw that in the chat. 25 push-ups, Trizzle's favorite push-ups. And then we got 2-minute wall sits for Kevin. So
I said sit-ups. You doing me dirty? You doing me dirty like
Kevin?
We're not doing 500 Navy SEAL burpees, by the way. We could do Navy SEAL burpees, but not 500 of those.
That's like 24-hour, which we are coming close to 24-hour streaming here in the studio. We're almost at 20,000.
I know we are approaching 20,000.
That 24 hours in the studio.
24,000 subs. I said it. I'll do 24-hour stream in the studio.
What's gonna happen then?
I don't know. Maybe I'll try to cook.
No, what? No. If Kyle's here, maybe it is gonna be fun because we'll have to have it start as the show on a Tuesday, and then it ends when the show concludes on that Wednesday.
It has to be a weekend because I have to record my shows. So.
Well, you know what? What if we're live and you're recording while we're live?
Kevin, we are not all sitting on screen for 20. You can go off for an hour and do that while we're the whole point is the stream just goes. We're not all going to be sitting in here for 24 straight hours, just sitting at these.
I was planning on doing that.
Okay, well, yes, overall, you'll be here for
Kevin
majority.
is part vampire, gremlin,
But I'd have to time it out to where I would wake up at 1, and then the stream would start at 2, and then I could just go all the way through because I'd really only be missing 1 sleep cycle.
Yeah, well, that's the whole. You definitely got to wake up, right? But if you try to have a day before
and then
24
start
hours.
and then go. Yeah, it's 2 sleep cycles, so it doesn't work. But we're almost at 20,000.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
Hmm.
And then I'll have to turn around once we hit 2,400 on Kevin and Zach React and do it all again.
Goodness, 2,400, and you guys are approaching that right now.
We are literally
For 2,400,
It
you're
is-
going 24
it is
hours.
almost identical. The digit, like it is. We have like 1
What if we hit it at the
9:30
same
on
time, Kevin?
and
Are we
Zach
just
React.
going? Kevin,
48 back to back.
48
Oh,
hours,
man.
Kevin. 48 hours
'Cause
simulcast.
we're like 1,910 or 11 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Which,
on
if you're not
Kevin and Zach
subscribed
React.
to Kevin and Zach
Yeah.
React, go over there.
And then we're at
Get
like
us closer to 24-hour
1,9
stream.
We're at like 1,9 something on this channel, so they are lined up just 1-0 off. on both of them.
That's
That'll be fun.
well. If you subscribe and get those numbers up, you'll be seeing some
Yeah,
long live streams
Can-
here.
Can Kevin and Zach React get 500 subscribers before this channel can get 5,000? That is the.
That's the
ultimate
question
race.
everyone's wondering.
That's the race.
That would be, yeah, that would be fun.
That would be something. This shit is bananas. BANANAS. Before we get into our competitions, we'll have one more serious note here of conversation because I wanted to get this point out. It's been on my mind because of what happened yesterday in yesterday's game with the Diamondbacks and the White Sox. So I wanted to talk about this, Zach, and I think you know where I'm going with this. There was a moment in yesterday's game with Ketel Marte, right? And you can see he was visibly upset. So much so that his manager's out there to try to comfort.
This is during a pitching change.
Yes. And so for those that are wondering, if you're just tuning into that, it's last night's game. And initially people were wondering that the news that maybe they found out one of the players on their team got hurt and it was sad for that player. That's what the initial report was coming out there. But then it came out that during the game, a fan said an inappropriate comment. Inappropriate is an understatement. Directed at Ketel Marte involving his mother. And his mother passed away in a car accident, I believe almost 8 years ago. Yeah. And you could see how emotional that is. And you know what? One thing I just want to point out, I guess I should say to everyone here, is look, as a competitor, you understand when you go to play in different ballparks that there could be some banter, there could be some hostility when it comes to going in there, but that's supposed to be in the essence of the competition and the environment for that. It should stay within the game. When it becomes personal and it becomes something that was said to Marte, it goes beyond everything that you could possibly imagine. And there's no point in my mind where it ever can be deemed acceptable to go out there and say what that fan said to Marte. Because I think at the end of the day, too, Zach, Kevin, I know a lot of people realize this because a lot of people are coming to defense, which I love this. They're coming to the defense of Marte and really condemning the behavior of the fan, which, by the way, right, the report's out, Zach, that fan's been banned indefinitely.
From all parks around Major League Baseball, not just Chicago.
And good. You know, you do something stupid like that. You say something stupid, just like for being a player, it's a blessing to be able to play Major League Baseball, even though you are paying to go watch something. Yeah, you are paying to go, but you have a right that you have to live up to be able to experience that. Because these players are out there for the entertainment, even if it is against your favorite team. And at the end of the day, let's flip it around. If someone said that to you, how would you react? Would you sit there and go, oh, man, that's just for the competition? You go, man, you know what? I'll just be blunt. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? And for a guy that clearly that's going to resonate with. And people have gone through stuff, right? We've all had hardships. And I think that's the hardest thing for me to watch, guys. And I'm sure you feel the same way. I hate seeing another individual having to relive a moment that was so traumatic. And it didn't have to happen at all. And it's happening while he's at his job.
Mm-hmm.
in front of thousands of people. And not only in front of thousands of people, this has now been broadcasted and spread virally on social media that we're talking about it. You know?
Mhm.
You get hardened to this stuff, guys. You know, some certain players can get hardened to it. I haven't really talked about my stuff that's gone on through my life. So you guys want me to tell you a little quick thing, and maybe this can get it a little bit more of a context. And this is why, like, people can look at the perception of players, families. You grow up with luxury, some will say. You know, so for me, I'll be honest, that was kind of in my situation, right? I had a dad, played all those games, tremendous player, meant a lot to the city, really beloved by a lot of people, right? Still is, and rightfully so. He did a lot of great things in his career on and off the field and beyond. I've heard similar things like that when I played from my high school years up into professional baseball. And I got hardened. I wish I could say that I haven't had comments like that, but I have. I've dealt with that. And one, if I'll be vulnerable here, in 2012, I just graduated high school, and about a month and a half into the summer's end of July, it was actually the day before my birthday, on July 26th. My birthday was July 25th, and I got a call that my grandmother had been kidnapped. And like when you say that out loud, it sounds crazy, right? So that was one experience of all the things that I've dealt with in my life, of all the good. People don't want to hear about the stuff that happened. That happened. And I'm sitting there dumbfounded by the words that I heard. And all of a sudden, I don't know if she's going to be okay. Remember police, all that. And that sticks with you, right? Fortunately, she was found, returned home. All was okay there. Now, flash forward, I had to go play in a tournament 10 days later. Actually, less than that. It was a week. And we're playing, and I'll be fair to where it was because it's just one person in this situation. We went to go play a tournament in Pennsylvania. And it was my last tournament before going off to college. And it was a big deal. The hometown team that we played, they loved this tournament. And they sold out when their home team played. And guess who they were playing? They were playing us. And we were considered the best team in the tournament. So they sold out maybe 8,000 to 10,000 people, right? And so I'm on deck, and I'm used to the things, guys. So I get initially, you know, hey, Ripken, you suck. You're a disgrace to your family. What's your dad think of you? You're not a real Ripken. I've heard it all. It's okay, whatever, you know, and like you shake that off. I go into the batter's box my first time up, and I'm getting into the batter's box, and I hear, hey, sorry to hear about your grandmother. And I thought, wow, that's actually a nice comment. You know what the next comment was? Yeah, she shouldn't be in a wheelchair. She should be dead. That's what I heard while I was hitting. The umpire was like, whoa, you know, you all right? And I said, just time. I'll just take a second. Then you try to regroup. You get back into it. Next at bat comes up. I'm in the batter's box once again. And then I hear same voice, similar voice, and goes, don't worry, boy, you're going to be next. And so you sit there, and the umpire called time. And he said, you know, do you know where that came from? I'm like, dude, I'm watching the pitcher. I don't know what's going on back here. Right? And I wish I said I wasn't hardened to that stuff. I've dealt with that my entire life. So I really wanted to make a point of this. So when I see someone like Marte struggle and see the emotion, it hurts me because I know what it feels like when someone doesn't treat you as another human. That's where this whole thing comes from. Just treat people like human. They're humans, right? That's the end of the day. I'm not trying to sit up here on a soapbox and try to say there's no place for that. Should be a given. Should be a given. Don't say something to somebody that you wouldn't say. And there's a line. And it's not rocket science. And we shouldn't have to condemn people out there. It should just be known. And you should just ask yourself, is that really worth it? And also for that sake, by the way, I had to stay in the dugout after the game because they had to retain people that wouldn't leave until they saw me. So the police had to retain it. I stayed an hour and a half after that game thinking, what the hell is going on? And I dealt with that. And obviously this is 13 years later, and I still remember that exact moment, that exact sequence. So for Marte, I hope he can just get by it, and I know he will. But the thing that I hate for him the most is that he had to relive a moment in his mind that was probably one of the most traumatic times he had to deal with. So sorry to bring down the energy there, but the moral of the story, be good to one another. You don't have to like one another. You can get pissed off. You can tell someone to F off. Sure. Know there's a line you can never cross, and understand that people are fighting battles that you have no idea. So be careful when you go to these places, and don't treat people like products. Treat those people like people. That's all I got to say about that. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. And look, this is what I love about the show here. We like to have fun. We like to shoot the shit, and we will get real. I try to be transparent with you guys, and these guys here, why you guys love Kevin and Zach on Kevin and Zach Reacts, they are who they are. They're weird, right? Yeah. And also, but we're honest about what happens. And I hope there's one thing we can learn. Be who you are. Be true to who you are. And that's why we love our community, because I feel like our community resembles that.
Yeah. And
for better and for worse.
Real fast, shout out the White Sox for this was up in during Ketel Marte's opening at bat. Just kind of a little simple thing to show them that they, are behind him, and that they don't condone what happened yesterday. So I've seen a lot of teams posting stuff about it, especially the White Sox, and that fan has been banned from all 32 MLB ballparks indefinitely, which is exactly what should happen. If you want to do that at the game, you can watch from home. Like, that's not, you don't bring, that's not, the stadium is a place. I saw someone else up here saying it, like, there are kids around. They're like, that kind of stuff. There's no place for that at a ballpark. We come to the ballpark to all watch baseball, to watch the game we love, to watch the players we love. There's no reason to be out there yelling stuff like that. If you want to sit there and scream at Ketel Marte that he cuts his pizza with a fork and knife, like, cool. Like, that's like, the little heckle stuff, like, that's funny. Like, there's lines, and I think that's the biggest thing. When you're at a ballpark and you're around all those other people, like, it's cursing not only to Marte, but, like, think about all the people in the section that now had to hear that, and you're like, what the hell just happened? Oh, yeah. Like, it impacts more than just the one person. Yeah, and also too, like, I love good banter from fans. I do. Like, I enjoy that component. I love going on the road and playing and being able to prove it, right? But that's not even the competitive nature of being fun. I even didn't mind if someone's like, yeah, fuck you, Ripken, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. I've heard it before, right? But also, I can go out and prove it. I remember it was funny, Zach. Actually, this was recently at a wedding, and this wasn't part of it. In high school, I played basketball, for those that didn't know, and met someone at a wedding, and he goes, "Oh, Ryan, I want to apologize to you. You went to one of our rival schools, and we used to absolutely torch you with banter. We just absolutely obliterated you." And I go, "Dude, all good." I said, like, there was nothing in my mind that crossed the line. I couldn't even remember what was said. With all of it, I said, "Dude, all good." I said, "Probably motivated me because I love that. Like, when you count me out or say something, I'm ready to rock. I am." And I said, "Oh, by the way, though, where your school was," I said, "Yeah, I dropped 42 points on you guys. I didn't miss a shot from the field." And he goes, "No, like, really?" I go, "Yeah, go look it up." Because how can I look it up? There's a Yahoo article out there. If you want to look it up, look up Ryan Ripken perfect, and you'll find that one. I missed 2 free throws. That was the only shots I missed that day. And I said, "Yeah, it worked out great. I love that." And I said, "So maybe I should give you guys a thanks," right? Players do like that, but there is a line. So I want to touch on that. Appreciate, Zach, your words on this. Appreciate everyone else in the comments here. It is all about knowing what the right thing is to do.
and knowing not to cross that. But I digress. Appreciate you guys on my little TED Talk. Thank you for joining us. We have one more. Yeah. See, like that's type of banter. Zach eats the discarded skins from Ryan's hot dogs.
Burn.
That's
Stack knows how to do it. It's like that Giants fan I saw. Gary Williams stole my lawn furniture talking about the Giants fan who just does the clean
you
shirt.
bum.
Yeah, bum. I love that. That's the stuff that's funny. And players are like that. Players will all the time look back and be like, okay, that one was good. Like, because it's funny. Like it's useless stuff. Like it's the most random stuff. It has nothing to do with anything.
Nothing.
And it's just supposed to be part of the fun. And like, that's one thing. Obviously, lines were very much crossed last night. So I'm glad that the White Sox and Major League Baseball did what they did.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's just so many different things. Like and that's why, like, I don't try to talk about things from a sense of to get into these deep conversations, even though I like having like those are I appreciate the deep conversations. I know we like talking about sports and talking shop and talking about I'm going to throw Kevin in the harbor and all that good stuff, right? But it's the relatability, right? Like people can think about that. And I at no part of I hope everyone knows, like I don't try to play that oh woe is me card, because you know what? Is life fair all the time, Kevin? Hell no, right? Is people going to feel sorry for you? Hell no, they're not. They're just not. But want to be transparent because I know probably someone else is going through it. And if we can help in that process, we're here to entertain. We're also here to help, right? And Joe, I see this about Costner, still the worst rumor of all time. And I know you know that. How you think that was one of the many things I heard growing up all the time? Like, dude, I would have people take shots at my mom that were so malicious. I'm sitting here being like, damn, one, joke wasn't even that good. Like how they delivered it, I'd be like, man, like tough delivery there. And two, would you even say that to your own mom? Like, come on, man. And also it's just a load of shit, but that's how it works. Because you know what? Not everyone is going to be your friend out there, and you don't need everyone to be your friend. You just got to learn to continue to walk the path, walk the walk, and realize things are going to be good if you just try to stay the course and have some people you surround yourself with. So Khaki Kevin, Straw Hat Kev, Zach, Brad, Rocco, surrounding myself with good people helps me get through the time. And I got a lot of great friends, right? Surround yourself with the people. And that's why our community is great. We appreciate it. All honesty, the community drives this show, drives the media. I'm not going to say it's a media empire like Kevin likes to say, and Laura. It's we got a lot more things. But it's true. So if you guys want to be a part of the community, hit that subscribe button. You can be a Rips Good Kid or Holy Shirts and Pants member. We appreciate each and every one of you. You are awesome. All right. We're done with that. Let's get into the moment of truth. Kevin, would you like, actually, Zach, you lost. Kevin, when you chose last time, you lost.
Okay, that's fair. Yep.
Zach, do you want to choose where you're shooting from?
Yeah, we'll choose.
Loser chooses. And I always sit down for this part.
All right, let's see.
It's very nice, by the way.
It's a nice straw hat.
I like this hat.
And, they got other gifts. I mean, all I got to say, this bobblehead's pretty good, too.
Yeah, wonder when those are going to be given out.
Saturday.
There you go.
Saturday, the 28th, first 20,000. Apparently, there's random Cal Ripken signed ones. This one's not signed by Cal. And all right, we're ready. Zach Bollinger is.
That is so.
From deep. Don't worry, Kevin.
Okay, all right,
it's Zach.
okay.
You got three shots,
it's
Zach.
It's three.
Hey. And Zach. So also, is it either hoop or we're going with the left hoop has to go in? I don't know how I feel about that. Kevin, where you're the vote. You choose. Vote either basket it goes in or one basket.
Either basket. That's fine. That's fine.
Because you might do it yourself. Okay. All right. Here we go. So Zach's 0 for 2. Last shot. Kevin, your choice. Would you like to go next or would you?
I'll go last.
Okay, I'll go. So Zach's 0 for 3. Nothing new there.
Well, if your foot was like right up against the bag, right? Just in the air. Okay, all right. Yeah.
All right, right here? Yeah, just stand in that little, yeah. Ooh, a little tougher than people thought.
Oh, interesting. Would you look at that?
It is a tough shot.
It's a tough angle. I kind of regret if Kevin makes it.
Well, now I'm like, do I just go for this one? That's why it seems.
I mean, it's
the
kind of
rules are
blocked
the
though.
rules. The rules are the rules.
Oh,
So Kevin can win it right here. And you know what? That's the thing is like, I actually felt really good with my basketball shot. It was a really good basketball. Like I had some good touch. Not in here. Watch, Kevin's going to make this on the first one. He's going to sink this. Is that actually a shot? Did you just? I think. So Kevin, people don't know this. Kevin hit the vent up top. Kevin hit the vent. Are you kidding me? You can't even see the vent. Okay, Kevin, go back. Just go. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, my.
Oh, I thought it was just going.
Last shot for Kevin. All right, Zach. So are we doing one shot or three again? We'll go one shot, and right now we're bringing it back straight away. So one shot? Oh, you're moving off of that easy? Yeah, you got to leave it. The Incredible Hulk striker. Did you make that? Wow. It's starting to sink in.
All the haters in the chat, I see you. Kevin, go end it.
So disappointed in myself.
Yeah, one sec, guys. I'm going to reset the cables real fast, Kevin.
You getting practice shots in? Yeah. I don't even have words for that first shot, honestly.
There we go.
I'm more stunned it happened, for being honest.
Yep. Wow, people struggling. Sorry to everyone who has to watch this. I really tried my hardest. Oh! Ring around the Wait, is that it?
No, Kevin's got one shot.
That was great. That was fantastic.
Oh,
come
man.
on, Kevin. Khaki Kev.
Khaki Kevin. Here we go.
Oh, I thought he
It's okay. Let's get that wheel out here. Oh, my God. If I had lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Or what size are you? You're not an XL. Okay. Goodness gracious. So Kevin Ostreicher is.
I'm gonna do a fashion change, and then when I get back, you don't tell me what it is. All right.
Oh, so you want us to spin it and not tell you what it is? Okay, let's do that. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Yeah, I'm really I've hated my basketball skills here. Like I've been really disappointed. No, but in general, it's not good enough. I'm glad I haven't lost, but you're right. I used to play basketball and I was okay. I thought I was decent. I'll be honest. I had some skills, but woof, man. All right, so we're spinning it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's make that, yeah. That's what we're talking about, baby. That's what we're talking about.
He's still taking. He's still. What is this wardrobe change?
Yeah, what is Kevin doing?
2-minute plank. Exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, Kevin is going to be ready to rock and roll here. Hey, hey, hey.
And while we're waiting on Kevin, I guess this can be a time that we, Ryan, we're gonna play this new game that I found.
Yeah.
I want to see how you score on it.
Okay.
This game, there's 6 questions.
Okay.
It is called Zach, Zach, or Zach.
Oh no.
So you're gonna answer. I've already done this. So
I think it's CK.
CK. All right. Next guy.
That's CH.
CH.
God. That's the first one.
Going.
Yeah.
We go. All right.
He's CK. He's C at the end.
Yep.
Is that all of them? No.
Last one.
He's CK. I might need to change one. Go back up. That no, right there, back down. Give me CK for Littell.
CK.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Submit. View score. We got 4 of 6. So
Did I change the right answer?
no, you got Littell. Littell was correct.
Okay, so what did I get wrong?
Why is it not showing up here? Why that? So we got Littell, so you got Zach Neto is CH, you put K, and Zach McKinstry is CH, and you put K. And then a quick just because, it's my own kind. This was 2 days ago. 6 out of 6. Yeah, this is probably why I wasn't in it, because Zach Britton's now has been both.
He has been both. That's a trick question.
That is a trick question. Kevin, though.
Kevin, you know what's not a trick is that you lost. And the prize
Is it a plank? Oh my!
2-minute
no
plank.
way.
2-minute plank for Kevin.
All right. Well, I have the war, so I might not look different because I put my shirt back. Well,
You're gonna
It's
show the
the
people?
oh, okay.
I put the camera that way.
We have all 3, so we have just.
You can back,
Back
up
up
a little
some,
bit.
backs up
Back
some.
up a little bit.
Back up some more.
Back up some more. Yeah, that's good.
Now we're good.
So we have this. We have 1, 2.
Why does he?
So Kevin just has
3.
every layer of Orioles promotions.
4 layers.
All right, Kevin. So 2 minutes of straight plank.
All right.
So you can back up.
Let me empty my buckets.
Okay.
Back up some. All right,
Yep.
I'll start the timer, Kevin. You let me know when you're ready. All right. When are we ready?
You ready?
Okay.
See the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Boom. So we got 2 minutes of Kevin Ostreicher, and this is brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs, our fitness challenge. We're going to be back over at Merit Clubs doing more work with them. I've done a bar class. Zach and I did a little tour back of what you can do over there in Canton, which, by the way, they're getting closer and closer to the full access. But you know what also has access, Zach, if it wasn't so damn hot? We still could have gone there. We just would have stayed in the pool all day.
Pool is unmatched.
Full bar, full menu, phenomenal. So we got a lot more coming your way with there, and meritclubs.com for more information on deals, special opportunities. And gosh, we got a whole heck of a lot more this summer, especially with this heat. We definitely got to find our way to the pool. But Kevin Ostreicher, he is just hanging out there. How are we feeling, Kevin? All right.
Yeah.
You are halfway there for doing this plank. Kevin Ostreicher. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, we could use Kevin as a free throw line. Yeah, can you take a couple shots? Oh, this is nothing, Kev. Yeah, we could do it as the free throw. Oh, yeah, a 2-shot line violation. There it is. Get back to it. You probably even bounce one off him, too, if you want. Oh, no. Oh, that doesn't look right. Couldn't see the ball from the backside when you did that. Keep going, Kevin. Well, I don't know. Well, I was going to say what's going to go longer. Kevin's yeah, actually it could be the case. Kevin, the last 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. You did it, Kevin. You did it. And that is brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs. Man, it's been a rough shooting output. But Kevin Ostreicher, he is back. And he did great. And ripped with Rip and ripped with Merit Clubs. Proud of you, Kevin. Proud of everyone out there in the chat. Thank you for watching. And oh my goodness, there's a reason why that man lost today. All right, to wrap the show up, we'll be back tomorrow. We hope to be cooking with Kyle just to change the schedule. And then we hope to have a lot more our way actually for tomorrow. Might have a couple guests. Might have Barry Bloom wrote a really good article recently with the Orioles. And if you guys have seen on Instagram and social media, the Hall of Pretty Good has started to take some buzz. So Bryce, the commissioner of the Hall of Pretty Good, is going to join us tomorrow. We might just have another guest or two up our sleeve. That's all we got for today. Should we hit that music? Kevin, proud of you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
As always, here at the Ryan Ripken Show, have a great stinking rest of your evening. Hope you got over that Wednesday hump. Have a day, have a night. Have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you tomorrow for the last episode of the week. Just kidding. We got a bonus one on Saturday. Talk to you guys soon. See ya.